pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Morning. Tuesday, January 9th, regular session. I want the public to know about our Zoom meeting etiquette and guidelines, and also it's posted in our office. So if you want to look at those guidelines. So our first agenda item is the board minutes for January 2nd, 2024.
I'll make a motion that we accept the board minutes for January 2nd.
Is there any public comment on past prior meeting agenda items? Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Hey, correspondence.
Just realized, I don't know if I stapled those. Because they were scanned.
Okay, the first one is from Julie Block Key, and she is from Southwestern Montana Insurance Center, LLC. And this is an email, and she would welcome the opportunity to be able to put a bid out for insurance for Granite County. And I think we could reach out to her, Billy. What do you guys think? And if she wants to come in and give a proposal. We haven't got a bid yet from Mako for this year. So I guess this would be reaching out to her on the agenda at a later time for her to give her proposal. The next agenda item is, or correspondence is coming from Western Montana District Office with the Resource Advisory Council with BLM, and they're going to meet January 11th in Missoula. And their agenda includes discussion with the Resource Advisory Council for a fee proposal at Garnett, and then other items of discussion that do not refer to anything due to Granite County. Okay, on the next letter is from the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. And it's the response to the FY23 DIS follow-up. And this letter states that there is no comments, so apparently that means everything is okay. They also are giving an instruction on how to file a submittal from Granite County to them.
On that BLM thing that Chuck has there, when I just read it there, were they saying a rack fee?
That's the Resource Advisory Council. That was, I thought the same thing. That wasn't anything to do with RAC.
Okay.
That's the abbreviation for the council.
That's what I
that
thought,
is.
then when I started reading
Yeah.
that, it's like.
Okay, the next one is an email with an attachment. And it is saying that our annual financial report for Granite County that was due 12/31/2023 is now delinquent. And I visited with Sarah and she said that it was coming right along, but she will get a hold of Hannah and see if we can get that in. We're only a few days late, so I think we're fine. Better than last year, we were a year late. So the email is from the Bridge Program Specialist, Engineering Division. And it said, Dear County Commissioners and Road Supervisors, please see attached County Bridge Inspections Report Summary for Q4, which is October 1 through December 31st. Note this report includes bridges that were inspected and had a quality control review for Q4. And it looks like the summary is bridge in Drummond. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's the one that we talked about, that Drummond was gonna get, now they got to, after applying or mention now DOTs.
So this report
But
is,
it's saying it's fair, you know, when they got it. I mean, I know we're gonna read plank or, I mean, that's up to us.
these need stamp.
Yeah.
And that concludes our correspondence.
Once we get that guy to look at it better too, you know.
Okay, the next agenda item is public comment on matters within the commissioner's jurisdiction. Is there any public comment?
Elena. Elena.
Okay, please state your name. Go ahead, Elena. See that it's you.
Good morning, Elena Gagliano from Phillipsburg. And I don't think I have to give my address, but anyway, good morning. And I have a few public comments going back to correspondence. Again, discussion about each correspondence. You got a letter from FERC. Is anybody going to contact them and tell them that there's a new chair? Because I see it was addressed, the January 3rd letter was addressed to Chairman Adler. So that should be corrected or updated, whatever. I also want to bring out that tomorrow, Big Sky Passenger Rail Authority, we're having another monthly meeting. There was something in the newspaper, which is always posted in the newspaper. The meeting is 11 to 12:30. The public is welcome. And of course, you're all welcome to see and ask any questions you have or make any comments that you have. We've come a long way, and it's really interesting how far we've come. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say. And one other thing, in the beginning of the meeting, introductions would be good so we know who's there. Again, without a visual, all we see is you, Mrs. Chairman, and we don't see anybody else, and we don't know who's talking or why or whatever. And I know it's on the agenda about the cameras, and so I just leave it at like that. And also the people that are in attendance, we can see them. I see that there's a few others, and I also see that the Phillipsburg Mail is present, and that's great. Okay, that's all I have to say. Thank you very much, and Happy New Year's again.
Thank you. And just for the record, Billy has made all the corrections to the necessary people for the change of the chairman.
Well, that's good to know, but Billy is not a commissioner, and it's a letter to the commissioners, and the commissioners should be discussing it and making the changes and agreeing on the changes, or if there is supposed to be on the calendar or the meeting or the agenda, then it's up to you to decide what to, again, to do with each one of the letters. Thank you again.
Thank you, Elena. Is there any other public comment?
How's it going this morning? How's it going normal?
I know we talked about this, but I don't remember the amount. How much am I paying them? How many yards, do you remember?
I didn't get a chance to explain to you.
Talked about it, I forgot, I don't remember where I wrote it down.
The next.
We'll just look at the other two. I know it's,
Okay,
I know I have it wrote down exactly what it was. What we filled for the first one first.
okay, yeah.
So we'll
Thanks,
just
it's
look
in
back.
order. I gotta bill it.
We're gonna get some snow.
I don't know, it doesn't sound like too much. Well, we got a lot of wind though. Maxville, oh
That terrible,
God, is it blowing hard down there. It's just a little breeze.
40 miles an hour.
Supposed to hit here pretty hard by this afternoon too.
Yeah.
30, 35 anyway,
The wind.
Mhm.
just gusts.
Terrible.
And we had a chair go flying down across the yard. I'm not sure where it went. Down to my brother's, I think.
Okay, according to the computer clock, it is now 9:15. And the next agenda item is potential re-implementation of Canvas device Zoom for commissioners meeting. And I am the one that put this on the agenda. I just wanted to refresh you that when you get on Zoom, it's very hard to figure out who's talking unless you recognize their voices. I think that we need to get beyond comments made by the public that are hurtful. I think we have to consider the source. I do think that there is technology out there, and what it's called is the OWL 3, which is a camera, a microphone, and a speaker that follows the people who are speaking. And I think that we need to maybe consider this. And that is my discussion. Is there any discussion from you, Chuck? On your
You know
feelings?
what I'll say? We've had problems with the video before. I'm not gonna go through it again.
I'm the same after what went on. We couldn't even look at each other, we smiled a couple times. I'm not gonna be criticized for what the
Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion that we don't do it.
One second.
Is there any public comment?
Elena.
Go ahead, Elena.
Thank you again for the record, Elena Gagliano. I've said this before and I will say it again. This is a public meeting for the public. It is not for your benefit. And you have to be open and available for the public. And right now, I understand that a neighbor and a few people have been getting calls. Don't come into Phillipsburg because the virus is back, COVID. And if you come in, wear a mask. Now, I don't know if this is phony or whatever the hell it is, but you see it on the nightly news. So it looks like it's coming back in. And again, it's an election year. Let me just remind you about that. But it's coming back. And so a lot of people are going to be doing Zoom. And we want to see who's speaking. And if it gets to the point where it's going to be, everything is going to be Zoom again, then we should see with the commissioners are saying, when they're saying it, and what are they afraid of? I didn't catch too well what the other two commissioners were saying, but they're commissioners, they're public. And also as a reminder, there's been several lawsuits, not only here in Montana, but in the nation regarding open meeting and public participation and how elected officials have to be available because they are elected by the people, for the people, not for their benefit, for ours. And that's something to keep in mind. And so I'm just saying that you should have OWL 3, I think is what you mentioned, Chairman McClure. And I think it's worth looking into because you're a commissioner. I mean, you're all commissioners. And I want to thank you for having your visual up because it's very easy to follow when you're talking. The other two, you can't, they don't say, okay, I'm talking or whatever. And you don't know who's coming and who's talking to who. Again, this is a public meeting. There's rules that have to be followed. And I don't know if they are being followed. But I think you should look into it. It should be on the agenda and you should look into this OWL 3. And if the other commissioners don't like their visual, maybe they should resign if they don't like being a public figure. Thank you.
All in favor? Nay. Okay. So it's 9:20 and the weekly report with Paul. And the reason I put you there.
I don't know why.
It's-
So I can't see you behind me.
It's so that we can hear you better, and then you guys can't chit chat back and forth. I'm kidding. Just kidding.
Okay.
I did that, and I just want to make note that I asked Blaine when he comes in if he would sit over there, and he was fine with it. I was gonna let you know, and I'm sorry I didn't, so that you would.
It doesn't make any difference. This is where Blaine always sat, so I figured.
Okay. So if we could get your report and then for the discussion, Chuck, if you have something to say, then you and Paul can confer and if you have any other questions, whatever questions you have, and then Scott, if we could, so that the public understands who's talking and not do the chit chat all around back and forth, please.
Yeah, we can do that. It's kind of hard because, Chuck and I'll say, well, what are you asking there, Chuck? Or, I guess I can always say,
Right,
this is
right.
Scott.
Ideas come to you as people are talking.
Yeah.
so.
So I mean, by the time it gets done, I mean,
Well, it's very, you can't understand it, I'm sorry, on Zoom, we're trying to make it a little easier for them
for one,
if we could, so go ahead, Paul.
We're just still mechanicing and we did throw a little bit of sand. We got a little bit of snow, but not much, if anything. I'm gonna put a wing on one of the blades today. Just in case, at least we're ready. I have one of them that's got it ready, but. And that's about it. Been cold patching, gonna put some more delineators up tomorrow. And, just some sign work and stuff like that, normal maintenance, nothing big. We are getting a deal, I got another email, I'm gonna get with Jackie on that bridge that they're worried about that's failing. At Rock Creek. That's not our bridge. And they wanna know what involvement we want in it, well, that's up to you guys.
Which bridge?
The bridge down by Rock Creek, one that crosses the Clark Fork. But it's Missoula County, yeah, and what the deal is, they're afraid that it's high water is gonna flood, I mean, get undermined.
we talked about it too, this is Scott, we talked about it at the LEPC meeting, cause Drummond was. First time they heard about it, I said, well, we already talked to them once, they want money back. We said, no, it's not our bridge, and I heard they were only gonna do part of it, and we shall want traffic, that's up to what the state wants to do. And-
Well, that's,
And the people at Rockford said they were gonna get with them, have a meeting, that guy at LEPC.
yeah, they're putting a meeting together on it, it's it's Missoula County's deal. I guess if we were gonna be involved at all, the only thing we could possibly do would be to. Under an emergency deal, maybe plow the road going over the hogback or something like that, within reason, but certainly. What else can you do? That's entirely up to you guys. But. It's all there, and so that's kind of where that's at.
People are, like I said, trying to plow up over the house back, that this year you probably could, but like last year you never.
No,
You have to hire a dozer.
no, you could never do
Where
that,
does that road go from the hogback?
Rock Creek.
Comes out.
Like if they-
Comes out where?
Right out here, the bridge, Gillis Bridge.
Plow all that?
No, I don't mean plow it, if it fails, it's gonna be during high water, so that's gonna be a flood. I just meant, cause the road's always pretty crappy, I just meant grade it once, so that people could get back and forth better while it was, it'd be their only means out. And that puts us out of some man time, we already played in 12 miles. So we just go over the back, it's just a suggestion, that's, like I said, that's completely up to you guys. But as far as getting involved any other way, I don't see how we could, and why would we? We have enough of our own bridge problems, that's my opinion.
But your 310 permits for the creek,
Waiting for Brad,
you talked to him?
I called him 3 times last week and again today, and he hasn't called me back yet, but he might be gone on vacation or something over the holidays, but he'll get back with me, we'll get it done.
Gary, have questions about road? Okay, solid waste,
Everything's going as normal there, other than the scale up front.
You might explain, I never said.
They're-
See what you have on that.
They can't certify it. And so what they're doing right now is they're zeroing it out every trip. Both way, both in and out. It's gotta be tore out and redone. When they put them in, it wasn't done correctly, and it never passed the compaction tests. And so the state juggled some numbers around, I guess, and they got it, well, they figured it'd be all right, well, since the time they put it in to today, that it's moved over 3 inches. The abutments are, so that it's just floating. We've cut on it 2 or 3 different times to get it to float. it just can't be done now. It's gotta be pulled up. And Rocky Mountain's gonna give us some ideas of what for a medium fix, but it's gonna have to get tore out and completely redone, or go back by the yard or whatever. But if we're gonna do the scales, and that's not gonna be cheap to do it.
Bet you it'll be 100 grand.
What was that?
I bet you it'll be 100 grand better.
Yeah, I just don't have any idea, but a lot.
They got pulled, I have a crane in there and lift it, set it, and then go and dig it all out, re-steam in. Bet you it's,
Well, they gotta have such compaction, and then it needs to be done right if they're gonna do it this time, you know. Pull it out, everything bothers that scale, how it's sitting in there, and. But what that is. Say. August, when the state comes in to certify it. There, it won't be certified. So. That's gotta get looked into, you know, by spring anyway, or start making a plan. But
So question. What are they doing now? How are they doing it? Are they just kind of eyeballing it?
they're zeroing the scales out in and out every time. So you pull in any way, he zeroes you out where you get on, and then zeroes it back out again, so you get the empty weight. Just
Okay,
doing that.
so he zeroes it out and then it weighs it, or
Then
is
it
it
weighs,
giving
it
it a
won't,
proper weight?
but it won't come back to zero. It's apparently close enough, they won't certify it, so it's not, definitely not 100% accurate, no.
Okay. So, but then he zeroes it out for each customer.
It's above the acceptable air rate and certified.
Yeah,
How long does it take to do that?
he can just do it from, you know,
Just take a
from what he
few
says.
seconds? or-
Yeah, yeah. Just, you know, you just push the zero and then it takes just a little bit and then it zeroes itself back up. But it's definitely gonna have to be addressed. I mean, as soon as we get our stuff from Rocky Mountain, we'll get a plan, and there's gotta be people that do this for a living. You know, get some estimates and go from there, but I mean, now it's January, we should get on somebody's schedule by as soon as we can. Certainly gonna have to be in the spring. You know. In the
How about
winter,
portable scales like DOT uses? Are those
you
those
just couldn't
certified?
use them,
good?
no. You gotta set them every single time, then you gotta go around every one of them individually and get a digital weight off each
Okay, so
each
it's
corner, and
time.
oh, it'd be terrible.
So Scott, did you have anything to tell us about the administration part of solid waste?
Oh, okay, so, I understand in some of the minutes prior weeks that you authorized a half unit proration for this period that we're in flux. So is that 1,000 pounds? Is that what the issue? Okay. So I'll be able to issue those at the half price, half units, okay? Also, so when the people have grant disposal and they roll up on the dump, they're gonna be charged. We're gonna send out letters. Do you want those letters sent out quarterly or at the end of the year? I think end of the year, because it'd be kind of an administrative busy work to get.
Okay, so your question is for granite disposal to send out,
No, for me,
for you to send out?
because I'm gonna send out a letter saying you owe this much because you participate in the co-op. And the letter said that if you dump, you're gonna be charged 20 cents. That is correct.
wait,
That's correct, but
I think.
Go ahead, Paul.
there's no way you dare wait a full year to send them out. You gotta send them out quarterly, because they'll have a heart attack. Oh my God, we owe $2,000 now because we hauled in, or at least if they get them by the quarter. well, gotta do something different here, you know, but I think a whole year is, I think it's too far.
Well, that's fine, I just want clarification, of what you
Yeah.
guys have set up on policy, so I can, abide by that.
I think, yeah, quarterly, I'm assuming like that, because you know, you get a bill, somebody at the end of the year, and like, well, no, we didn't do that, and we're in a big conflict, this way. Kind of keeps everything up to date, doing a good job, so I just.
Right, that's fine, but I don't know if the public know the full policy, if they're aware, everyone's aware. That's one thing, but also, are they aware of that on the website of Granite County website, they can see their totals as they're going. And for quarterly, they know what they're up against, that kind of. So. I was wondering if there's a way to
Yes, Blaine?
get that information out.
One thing, the newspaper is gonna do an article summary of it, so hopefully get the word out better. But the county could do a little notice in the paper occasionally saying that where people can find that information on the website. Like even with the little agenda, right below that or something, you could put it. I don't
So that's
think to be
helpful
every week.
for all customers to know where they're at.
Okay, for the question, for the customers that are going to get one of their units from Granite Disposal or come in and keep one of their units. Do you have, I know Vicky said that you can do that. You can go in there and give them a separate number.
Yeah, it's kind of a funky workaround, but I can do it and then.
Okay, yeah, because what
I can do that.
she also mentioned that the Department of Revenue won't. Well, this understandably is because this is a special district and they're not going to do it at Granite County. So if there's a way that you can go in there, and I know Vicky said there was, to give them their special number for their unit that they're keeping.
You're talking about parcels, people that have 2 units. Yeah, but if they, my understanding is if they have 1 unit and they have Granite Disposal, then they're gonna be charged.
Yes,
They don't have a workaround unless they
yes,
buy a half unit,
yes.
and then I can accommodate that as well.
I think we're getting there,
Yeah.
it's just little flinches, and I think we're.
I just wanna iron it
Yeah,
out,
right.
make sure I understand your policy so I can adopt it into the
Yes.
system there. And also wanted to note, a meeting with Rick Robinson tomorrow at 10 o'clock, so we can accurately adjust the sheet, so I can report off, all that. Good. I don't know how successful we'll be, but I'm gonna, try to get it best I can, because there's about 80 to 100 customers. I don't have any parcel numbers on them, so I have no way to know if they're rolling into the dump or not. So we're gonna try to work that through.
Did he have like 5 of his customers call you up and say they're no longer
I
with
think
him?
I'm at 8,
Oh, 8. So,
and then I just was going through Jody's, all the tickets, and she writes down notes so I can adopt it into, and this person no longer has Granite Disposal, so I'll make a note, take it off.
So Scott, once you get your hiccups out, I think you're gonna have it running really smoothly and get all our little problems fixed. I mean, we knew that we were going to have problems that needed fixed and things that would arise that we didn't think of that needs to be. So thank you for,
Right, I think it's gonna address all the buying units, splitting units and those kind of things. And it's the only thing that's really pulling us back, for an accurate 100% is the list that Rick has given me and tying it to the parcel, the tax ID.
go ahead, Blaine.
I think you should remind him again that if he hasn't updated here by the end of the quarter, then he's not gonna be able to dump anymore, that's in the policy. Right? Yes, it's a little gray, I don't know if they could do that already, but for sure, at the end of the quarter, it's gotta be fully, and right now it needs to be updated really, but the remedy of no dumping at the end of the quarter, that would be my advice.
So Rick, let him know if we don't have an accurate thing by the end of this quarter. he won't be able to dump his trucks.
It should be updated now, but yeah, that would be that's in the policy that is not kept updated.
So Blaine, question, if there's what, 80, you think?
I'd have to look at it again, but it's pretty close,
People
yeah.
approximately that don't have tax ID numbers that are on his list. What does that mean? Does that mean that he has to pay for their units or what? Because I don't think it's right for somebody else's units to
Yeah.
encompass those who don't
Well,
have. tax
the-
ID.
So if he, the real question will be at the end of the quarter, if they have they have the units to cover it. So that's the.
Well, that's just it. We
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah, that's why it's got,
those
yeah, it's
numbers,
got
And we
updated.
don't know the
Yeah.
units.
So, the other thing, talked to Scott with, is and don't wanna overstep my bounds, but he wanted to get the latest update, so I think having him come in for the solid waste update would be good. That would-
If there's anything that I need to.
Well, then,
Go ahead.
the thing about it, you're gonna know who their media are, whether they have a tax ID. He's gotta, this is what we've been trying to tell him, he has to give us the info. So Scott knows what's going on and we know who's what, cause he's charging them anyway, so he knows who they are.
No, but if they don't have a tax ID number, that means they're not buying a unit. How would they buy a unit without a tax ID number?
Well, that's what I'm saying, that he's gotta give the names of these people, and we'll have to look and see who they are. That's why Scott, you know, like he's saying, there's 80 of them. I'm just saying that he knows who they are.
Right.
So Blaine, if we have a list of those people that don't have an ID, tax ID number, shouldn't they come up to the treasurer's office and buy a unit? Or
Yeah,
how
that
would
should be the pay.
Yeah.
Pay as you go, because I mean, Grant Spoldel talked about buying their own units and then charging, but if they're not doing that, then, yeah, there's, to be part of that cooperative, they're supposed to be, they're supposed to be,
have a
have a
unit?
unit,
Yeah,
correct,
yeah.
yeah, so that's a clarification on what I
Yeah.
just said, yeah. good
Yeah.
point.
I'm saying on his list, even though there's no tax ID number, they still have a tax ID number possibly. But I can't tie it to the description that he has, you know, Mary Johnson. You know, is probably a renter and he knows who Mary Johnson is. I'm making that name up. But there's no address or anything else on it.
Mhm.
But that Mary Johnson is associated with Bill Smith, that is the owner. That has a tax ID. See, I can't tie that together. That's why I'm gonna try to iron it all out.
Yeah.
That's why he's gotta get.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's on
That's what I'm
him.
saying.
Yeah,
That's
That's
on him.
why it's.
So that's like rental property or something, then.
Yeah,
They're bidding that somebody's paying for their units, the guy that owns the property, they're just picking it up from,
But this renter is paying
I get that.
Granite Disposal. There's no, the owner doesn't know that she has that kind of thing. And then there was, I was at the dump working with Jody and, what's his name, Mark Hutchins.
Hudgens,
Hutchins.
He's up in,
Arrowstone.
Arrowstone.
Yeah, Hudgens.
He's got a renter. And he came in onto the scale and Jody told him, you're gonna have to pay for this at 20 cents a pound because you're a pickup. He says, no, I'm not, I have a renter, and, you know, he didn't understand it, and he was upset because that person can't come to the dump, and, you know, it was a kind of a thing, so
Well, he's gonna have to get it worked out with his renter then.
that's,
Okay,
it
yeah.
just shows how not everyone is aware of the policy delegated to the dumps.
Yeah, I think it's gonna take, it's,
Yeah.
we're ironing all the
Growing pains.
wrinkles out, hopefully. So,
Yeah, so that's the only thing that's really outstanding that I need tightening up is working with Rick to get those numbers.
But I can see even where a husband and wife potentially, or just their real properties owned in one of their names, you know, there could be issues like that, or. So, yeah, it's getting those worked
Yeah.
out.
Well, the drivers know exactly where to pick it up and things like that, and they know that the whole thing, and they don't even need a specific parcel numbers or, accurate addresses. They say, oh, there's the can, I'll pick it up, and then they move on. So that his list doesn't, have that. And that's the only thing I
Yeah,
can do to
yeah.
tie it to our scale system. So we'll work that out. Hopefully we get it all. I'd like to get it into the 90% instead of 95, 99.
Yeah,
So the problems are stemming with Granite Disposal and their list. Is where your problems, the list
Well,
of the people.
For an accurate representation of people who come
Yeah.
across the scale.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I can build them as needed.
Is there any other?
It's all good.
Okay.
So I'm cool.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Scott. Is there any other discussion?
one of the things that people keep bringing up is, why, what's the reasoning? And I've just been saying it's equitable, it's more fair way, because the general taxpayer is not on the hook. Those words, those customers that are getting that.
Yeah.
Don't think, so it's a more equitable.
Yes. Okay,
Alrighty, I'll see you guys later.
Thanks.
thank
Have a
you.
good day.
Don't blow away.
So you're gonna blow
What's that?
away here.
Don't blow away.
Oh, no chance of that. I'm saying.
So we have, we're running a little late on Montana Rail Link correspondence from January 2nd. And discussion on. It was part of correspondence last week, and so discussion, Scott.
This is pretty much like we talked about last week, it's changed over to the BNSF that was, they took over Montana Rail Link, and they're just trying to make sure they get all the agreements changed over. That's all, it's just update, just so they know what,
So,
pretty simple.
okay, so, there was comments made on looking for the previous agreement.
I have not been able to find it.
You know, and I haven't seen one for, especially on, these are all pretty new, cause they went through and you can see where they marked a bunch of, I mean, all over the state, they're talking, they're just trying to make sure that they're on the right land or whatever, so this could be an all, this is all, you know.
So Blaine, your comment on, this correspondence? Do you have one?
It's that there, you know, like the thoughts is that there and all the two spots down at the interchange and then the one right at there.
Okay.
And then just wherever we, where it hits the county roads, they're just,
Taking it back.
What did we decide the railroad was before Montana Rail Link?
Was it northern,
Northern, was it Northern Pacific or Northern?
well, it's been like three, there was, I remember Milwaukee, that's the other drive, and then there.
Yeah, I think
it was
the
northern.
MRL only had the lease or permit from BNF. Yeah, so now that they're out, it goes back to
We
them.
just want to
So,
update it.
but there'd be, deal with them and it'll still do business as usual, but just
Okay.
BNSF.
Okay, so and basically what this is the Montana Rail Link letting the road store stuff on, is that what this is?
No, this is the crossings like down Bearmont, and then the other spots down further past Bearmont. These are just where their county road goes across them and now, we're not storing nothing.
Okay,
We have we'll be getting another thing from BNS like at call for where we rent
Yeah,
that, right?
that's what I was
That
thinking.
coming.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, all right, okay. So was there any discussion? Is this an item that we have to
There's
Just
a.
just informational, this isn't anything that
this is
we
just
have to.
Info, and then they'll be, I bet you sooner or later, they'll be wanting to get on the agenda and come and talk to us and stuff, you know, just like at the hall and stuff. This is their stuff, so they're share it, like when you go talking. Yes.
Okay. So, we have a few minutes before the damn tenders report. Elena?
Thank you again, Elena Gagliano, for the record. As far as that letter is concerned, I believe there was another question. I don't have the approved minutes, so I don't know from sure, but I think the date of the letter was questioned. The date of this letter was November 23rd. And where did it sit? You know, January 2nd is when you stamped it. And but the letter was dated, excuse me, I am talking.
We asked the
The,
question.
I'm talking. So it's dated November 23rd. It was sent by MRL or Burlington Northern to the Gwinnett County Road Department and the courthouse, and it sat somewhere. I think that was one of the questions. And if you have any questions about this, you just may want to ask them tomorrow at the Big Sky Passenger Rail Authority meeting. I'm sure they'll be more than happy to answer any questions you have about that. Thank you.
Did it send or was it just a late send?
You know, it was in my box where I get mail. It was already opened when I got it. I didn't open it. And it was in there on Tuesday, the 2nd. I don't know.
So this could be something that is Montana Rail Link sent it out late. They may have seen that it wasn't sent to us. I'm not gonna worry about the date, are you guys?
No,
Okay,
I mean, it's something, they're just trying to get, they got a whole pile of stuff. And trying to explain to her what they said. She asked a question, and you try to answer. Oh, stop.
Elena has another comment.
go ahead, Elena.
Thank you. If I'm asking a question, you usually wait until I'm done. But that was certified mail, November 23rd. It wasn't something that, oh, they forgot to send it out and they did it. The date of the letter was November 23rd and it was certified. So it sat somewhere. What other letters are sitting somewhere that are to the commissioners that are important? There's a question. Okay. And I don't know. It's a rhetorical one. So that's the point I was making. Thank you.
Okay, it's 9:50. And time for the down tenders report. The water surface elevation is 6429.25 feet, which is 3 inches below full. And we are now, as of Wednesday, doing 20, letting out 20. So what's your recommendation?
Well,
Keep it at 20?
I
Can we
think we're
keep-
gonna have to keep it at 20 for another week, and then if it keeps going up, we gotta go up again.
To their temporary modification consent was for a month at 20 CFS, but yeah, you guys look at, wanna do it more, then we can go back to the agency.
Is there a motion?
And I'll move to stay at 20 for this week.
Give me a second.
Any public comment?
Well, one thing I didn't notice, I didn't bring up the month deal, that was Fish, Wildlife and Parks, yeah, I just brought up week to week.
Okay. Being done, all in favor?
I
Aye. Motion carried. Oh, okay. Okay. This guy. Oh, look at it snow.
I know I might ski on Friday.
Yeah, good guy, he was a safety guy.
That's what you were up to.
Yeah. Not, he-
Well, poor Washington yesterday, like it is. They're right there, too, right there.
Yeah. We don't want to talk.
That receiver though was constantly open. Doomsday or however it's he's good,
Oh, he's good.
yeah.
Yeah, he's-
You see that story about his grandpa, who was in,
Yeah,
dairy farmer, just a road biking and someone ran into him and just hit and run and brain damage, kind of, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Florida team's over Michigan.
what's that?
I root for the Florida teams over Michigan.
Yeah, me too.
Did you have fun?
Yeah, it's fun.
Oh, you went down there?
I went to Grizzly, yeah,
Oh, look, I didn't see it.
yeah.
I thought maybe.
10 yards line.
Across the field.
And some entertainment.
There goes our county attorney.
There were a lot of Anaconda people there in fact, like Jerry Arneson, their former wrestling coach, he was their flight guy. Cool. Lorraine Joe's on the way back. I think so. Lorengo. Oh, yeah.
They're good people.
Yeah. The dad, the son, the grandson.
Our clock gets slow.
I don't know. Yeah. Turned it back a minute and no, I don't know. Oh, it's slower. No.
It was a minute past.
Been here since I have. My
Nice
used
clock.
to change all the time.
It was a minute past.
And now it's 3 minutes. So.
Oh, did Jackie's nephew play?
Oh, yeah.
What number was he?
83 and 60.
Yeah,
I can never see him.
I
Like-
seen 83.
like towards the end of the game where they wanted to run the ball more, they.
It did. And then, yeah, they showed him sitting right by the quarterback at one time when they're showing the quarterback.
No, their offensive line are punks, I thought, they're diving in late all the time. In people's faces, but I'm sure they're trying to do the intimidation factor.
I think after that fourth quarterback, the Grizz got hit a few times hard, he was done. He took a beat.
Well, then I mean, they're in the third quarter, that first down, no one blocked, I mean, it was a quarterback run. Throw a block. Grizz will be good next year. God, plus, lose those linebackers.
What about that quarterback?
Yeah, he'll be back.
You know,
He's got a,
Well, he did a nice flip there.
Yeah, that was right in front of us. They're good tacklers, I mean, cause usually people he goes over, he's like 225. Yeah, that guy is soft.
I think that's what I'm gonna do is put a picture up on the screen. Picture up on the screen.
That cave,
I think my personal Zoom just put the picture up.
Becky should be bringing in claims any second. For the next agenda item, we will accept monthly claims, review and decision.
We know if he looked in that. Fireplace. This week, is anybody heard, or I guess.
I did not hear, but I can follow up. I did follow up with our renters after kind of a rocky start. They're incredibly nice people. They said they were cool with everything and how everything played out. I got a hold of Palmer Electric to do the electric panel. And it's gonna be a while before they can get over there to even take a look. So I sent him my information because we're gonna have to give the tenants notice, 24, 48-hour notice before they enter to even go look at it, to give us an estimate to replace it. So I
Did
let
you
them know
check
that.
any other electricians to see if they would be available?
Oh my God, I called all day for like 2 days to even try to find an
Did you
electrician. to
call
call
the
me
one
back.
that I sent you the?
No, because they
Call
have already been working on the house and are gonna bill us for the house, but I can try to call to get a different one over there. You guys motioned on Palmer, but if you wanted to change your motion to motion on a
it's just
different
that we-
electrician.
Or, you know, he did that other stuff in other shops, so he's kind of
Yeah.
knowledgeable about what's going on, so. How it's circuit, you see that runs through circuit through all.
The shops, it's all connected over there.
So, I mean, I do it. Maybe we might have to wait a little bit, but at least we won't have to pay somebody else to go try to figure everything out, but he already knows.
Yeah,
That's just me. But he'll get there, though, he's.
yeah, he said it
Just
would just be a
almost
week or two, yeah,
Just,
to get over there.
just, you know, say, hey, just checking. They're so backed up.
Yeah, and I made it clear that I would need notice before they go over there to give the renters notice. They can't just go over there, so.
They make any runs with the ambulance?
I think they are. I've seen them around.
Yeah, I've seen that
Yeah.
truck, man, it's nice.
Yeah, it's really nice, isn't it?
I've seen it come.
Yeah, they told me that,
And
you know,
truck that they got.
Dave was over there doing stuff on Christmas Eve, so him and Kelly brought them a Christmas tree, I guess, and they thought that was pretty cool.
Drummond's been going to it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's got work on it, just gotta keep everybody communication. I think that's the biggest thing in there. Let them work that out. So.
Yeah.
Seem to be doing good. Everybody likes them.
yeah. They're very nice people. I just can't believe how nice they are.
Is that the same ones that were in here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gone that week, yeah. Leslie.
Yeah. Actually not. You know, no.
Have you seen the dog yet? Have you met it?
No, I drove through yesterday.
Oh.
I went to see,
You'll have to go meet the dog. I got to meet the dog. Did you?
No, I think they're doing awesome, I think, right.
Hey there. Hey there.
Who wants to start?
We have, hey Becky, we have two of these then, could I get one of them?
Do you want it broken up by fund like this, or do you just want the?
No, I can just go
See,
through.
and that's what she has, it's broken up, like, so you can look at it. And see how much each one spent. So if you're curious. In what the road spent, it's
No, this is.
all together.
Would you like another copy of that?
I have to sign them now, so I'll be looking.
You kind of do.
On that, Phillipsburg marketing, do we ever hear anything? from-
Yeah, I work with him all the time.
Okay, I just,
Mhm.
we,
Yeah,
okay,
no, I work with him all the time.
they used to come in and give us a little update.
Yeah, now he and I just go back and forth all the time.
This is the check signer.
Oh, okay.
And you guys normally start at the top, correct?
When-
On the top line of the
Yes.
check.
So. if you
So
go there-
above that, make a little tap mark there. If you wouldn't mind.
When you talk to them people, Billy, did they, Kessler said he gave them smoke detectors? Get them.
I can follow up. Let me see what it said. I was.
I'm sure
texting
they
her.
did, I just.
Yeah, I think the smoke detectors, locks and everything went good. And everything's working well, and I just followed up and let her know that I'll coordinate with them in the coming weeks over the electrician coming to replace the panel, and that you guys talked about the plumbing, and that in the coming months want to look at that a little more in depth, so. Cause that'll be probably likely within the term of their lease.
So far, so we got like $2,700 into delineators. Not too bad for what they've done. They've done lots of places. That ain't bad. If you think,
I take you for your word.
huh?
I wouldn't know.
That Gary Lindbergh, if you're wondering about that, that's where we store the stuff at Rock Ridge, down at Rock Ridge down by Missoula. Where they have a grader sitting there and loader, and they plug into here.
Oh, okay.
I just seen it. It's updated, right, so. I see them jackets for the guys are supposed to be wearing, they were $355.
Yes.
New jackets,
A piece.
so. Looks like. The other day I seen one guy, so. Gotta get them all.
Great question. The dam tender training at Snake Creek Dam. Drop off gifts with Granite County. Let's see.
Who,
Hmm?
what date is that?
Dated what date now?
Which one was it, Chuck?
On Great
Great
West.
West, yeah, she brought in the meat tray and stuff.
Oh, that's what I can.
Yeah.
The one that solid waste. They. It's reading, I should broke it down, with this said garbage and junk vehicle through that whole thing there. I see. And there's another one there for high visible vest for $9.94, so it must have.
You just wanna look at the, okay,
These are, she's got it, I like this,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, it's itemized everything. Just next time, we just get.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah,
it's
that's the way it should,
easy to,
I like this, pretty simple. I don't see nothing. Well, with, calendar book that was on Bill.
So I have to reorder. Apparently they were out of stock of the one I tried to order you. I've got to straighten it out. But he's gonna set me up to have an online account, so I can just go online and get it. You know,
Thanks.
So the ambulance is running smoothly. Window?
Sure that Becky knows on this, heat tape install out here that half that goes to the city.
Oh, yeah.
is everything's done with that, right? Okay.
Power turned on out there.
See, it ain't on today, it ain't plugged in, I don't know if she, wait, I should plug it in, see how it's gonna work before we pay everything. I thought about plugging it in, just this, cause there's snow in the farm, I don't keep it. Melting down. We start finding the stuff that's gonna be going in there, it's gonna be on top of the snow, it's gonna get the ice. Is Janine here today?
She is.
They'll walk downstairs and that's what she will put that in. I just.
So I saw a little blue light. This little blue light, was it on or off, or did you, where the plugins are?
I thought that was just showing that there's power to that.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't, cause there's snow ain't melted.
I just saw it, I didn't know what it was.
I'll go see if she'll plug it in to see how it looks, in case we need to.
So it's the heat tape and half of Kessler's bill, right?
Huh?
Is that just the heat tape or is that Kessler's whole shebang? Cause it's half of the whole shebang they're paying for, right?
So they're,
They're paying
Yeah.
for your half of
Half of everything, okay.
Yeah,
So
Kessler
I'll
stuff,
send him a
though,
bill.
and these claims here, most of that Kessler stuff, that's all, that's nothing to do with this out here, this is just that heat tape on.
Okay,
On that.
hey, that. If I can make them a bill, I can bill out the
Yes.
city. Okay,
So that.
Who picked up the heat tape?
That's
Casper?
what I'm trying to find out. It should show.
Oh, that's Fenler.
Yeah, look under the Finler, what's the number?
I don't know where, it's 1302, is that? Where did you go?
It's,
I didn't see Casper yet.
It will be Fenler.
If you get to that Finler, when you see a declock, the heat tape for the Kessler, remember Kessler said he's gonna buy it. So we don't want to pay for it. I'll go see if she'll plug that in, see if
Thank you. One third, January is 3. It's kind of early. Do alphabetically. Not even to the K yet. I'm gonna take $12.
You see it, just pick that on there, and then I'll just go ahead and I'll throw out the city. I'll send them an invoice. Because I've already talked to them about that.
But actually. The heat tape isn't on here. That's the custom products.
I think it's from Fenler's, wasn't it?
Right.
On his thing, it said it was from Fenler.
Oh, this is for the Hall House.
Was Spindler?
Uh-huh. Somewhere, and I don't know if it was the purchase of the tape or the.
My bad.
You're fine.
Let's see if Ben. Was it Pickler?
No, it was Jeremy Findler for Findler Electric. Findler Electric heat tape for $3,081 and 50 cents.
It wasn't plugged in. Janine and I just went out there, it was not plugged in,
Oh.
we had to rip the plastic off the cord even, it wasn't even tested. Something like that, you know, that's what we plugged in, test it, just see what it burnt, you know, make sure.
That Ben would show them.
I guess we'll. You guys, good, how are you?
Yeah, Missoula. Road parts. On. Mile High Duty.
Right, so that, to fix that.
This is different.
I didn't look at
If they're claimed for,
Mile High there, it's 700
No.
and some of that.
what's it, is Mile High and Missoula Auto Parts the same thing? Bill, isn't it? Missoula and you.
It takes sheets, mustard.
She attached it, so she probably needs
Yeah,
to do.
there's, I seen it.
Is it on there?
Yeah.
Okay. Need to claim for it. Or-
They seen it now.
So it would be probably road, looking at the road thing.
We'll put that in the next one, not sure if that was. I think, I thought they seen the last one, but I was looking at.
Didn't want to host it right now.
She said it is.
Got your sticky note on the right one.
Awesome, thank you. I will give that to.
So Rachel Johnson isn't the same Rachel that is working with
Yeah, it's just.
Area 5.
Yeah, she is.
Oh, it's saying that.
She works for the hospital under Area 5. I don't know what else she does at the hospital, but she also contracts with us for some stuff.
So is this resolved yet, do you know, or do you have to get her on? That's where it's billing things like.
She do, yeah, she got.
Correctly?
I guess there was some little. Oh, yeah. Money, I don't know, got some money.
They almost treat you.
That's how. Paul said the other day he drove up, couple from Marshall, they were looking at something down anyway, and they come down, right down there, bomb, there's 5 wolves, right, come flying up in the creek, they must have a deer or something. Really?
I could hear him the other night across from my house, like going nuts in the bottom. Never saw him. I could hear him though.
It was that old piece of your grandpa's, I think they sold it, brother, something, you know, that.
We could hear him down there a couple days ago. I hear him just going nuts down there in the bottom because I was like, they're right next to the house.
Down there by the bridge or something.
Yeah,
Yeah, right,
You could-
this side, out in that flat there, out in the.
Willow Creek. Cause I could
He seen
hear
him,
him.
but John seen him.
That's crazy. Cause that early morning, we could hear him at the house and we were like, they must be in the bottom. They must have got something.
Do we have a motion to accept the fees for December?
Yeah, the only one I was worried about was to make sure that this wire.
Yeah,
But I think.
yeah, yeah, I put a little sticky note.
It's plugged in now. It won't take. Yeah, I'll make a motion to accept it.
My second.
Any public comment? All in favor?
Here you go.
All in favor?
I,
Okay, 10:30, and we have Morgan Marks with the Yellowstone to Yukon Conservation Initiative discussion. Good morning. You want to come on up and sit down and introduce yourselves and
brought a tag along today.
Oh, yeah. Good morning,
so we'll
everybody.
just let you go.
Okay,
ahead
that
and
sounds
get
good.
Started out.
Great. I'm Morgan Marks. I reached out, Billy Ann. Yeah. Nice to meet you in person and just to give us this time to visit with you all. Are you the county attorney?
Yes, I'm Blake Bradshaw.
Nice to meet you. Just wanted to make sure. And so, yeah, with Yellowstone to Yukon Conservation Initiative, this is my colleague Eric. I'll throw it at him in a minute. But I'm not sure if you're all familiar with this nonprofit or not. A little bit about it. We are working in literally the Yellowstone to Yukon region and really just trying to connect landscapes. So we have staff in the US, in Canada, about 40 people. Really trying, we've been going through a big transition, trying to integrate our work, but trying to connect that landscape, knowing for wildlife and human safety. We know people aren't going to move out, but how do we connect parcels? How do we make sure that wildlife can move the way that they naturally need to, just like humans do? So that's the basis of our work. My focus is the transportation and roadways side of that. And trying to get wildlife crossings in, visiting with communities at this time, community leaders like yourselves, trying to get a feel for what is the community experiencing in regard to transportation and roadways, wildlife vehicle collisions. Is there a need for like community outreach? Just really learning more from you all. We just met with the town mayor. I visited with the sheriff. And so just trying to, better understand what's happening at the community level. I don't know if you want to share a little bit about your work and I can hand out.
This
Sorry,
one
Arnold.
is what,
Sorry?
east of Drummond, that pretty much you guys are involved in? That's the
So-
last things that they're talking about,
We have been in the past, I think.
cause I think we sent you a letter of support on that.
I think at some point. And I know they were gonna put in a lot of fencing that has stalled. But I do know that, like with the big elk herd that's moving across the highway. Yeah, that's been a big,
So you're talking about wildlife corridors here in the valley?
honestly, throughout that landscape. So for you guys, yes, but for us, literally trying to make sure that there's a corridor for wildlife to move from up in Canada all the way down to Yellowstone. And that's for every critter from grizzly bear all the way down to your, grizzly up
What
to
do you
moose.
consider a wildlife corridor? So like out here in this ranch land,
Yeah,
so what are you proposing?
so it depends. So let's say, if you have landscapes that, whether it's public, private, if a deer can move easily through that land, and just move across. And I may need you to chime in with this too. Eric's more focused on the private lands and like linkage areas. But yeah, it really depends because you have barriers like the railroad, barriers like every roadway. But if it's public land on both sides and an animal can just move freely across the roadway if there's no cars coming, that may be workable. In places like Drummond, where that elk herd, there's human safety issues, elk cannot move across the road easily at times. That's where it may make sense. And because there's funding right now for an actual crossing to be built, if the data can support that. And knowing that if it's the cost effective, the right thing to do.
That the infrastructure funding?
Yeah.
There's no money they spend on that out there studying.
Yeah,
They should have.
Yep.
put towards the fix.
You know, there's one thing, the deer and elk have no problem crossing out here,
Yeah.
but some of these jackleg fences, antelope can't get through.
Oh,
And-
really?
and, Yeah, I used to have antelope up on my place. Now they can't get across the highway because they have two jackleg fence on each side. And they can't, and they're stopped over on this side.
just a couple, that federal funding I think you were talking about. These are just a couple articles. One of them is a Yellowstone to Yukon blog that just shares more about the three different pots of funding. And so one of the things that I'm specifically working to do is just share information and be a resource if it's needed or wanted in communities. There's so many different pieces to this work that I'm learning that not everybody knows where to go. So if I can be that support, that's great. If I can point people in a different direction, that's great too. But yeah, do you wanna hop in?
Oh, I can just, yeah,
Yeah.
I can
Can
just,
you state your name, please?
yeah, my name's Eric Greenwell.
For our Zoom land.
Sure. Oh, yeah, hi, Sunland. Oh, we're up in space. Good deal. Yeah, and so I work, well, Morgan is focused on like the human animal complex on roads, like collisions and things like that. I work with different organizations to support the conservation of corridors, particularly where private landowners are interested, where it's voluntary, like where they've opted to work with conservation organizations. An easy one that comes to mind and that people I think wrap their head around is like a land trust. You know, I know land trusts work throughout, I know like Five Valleys Land Trust, who I've worked for in the past, has worked in this area a little bit. We only work in those areas where we know wildlife are moving. And so that's kind of the gist is like, what are the patterns? What does the information tell us where they're moving, where the conflicts are happening? But the other piece I want to add to this is that we just don't, we're considerate of all the effects of these kind of corridors. And what I mean by that is like, we have a group of people that works for the Yellowstone to Yukon too, that help with things like conflicts. So if there are conflicts with large carnivores, like we have funding for things like trash cans, right? Bear-proof trash cans, and things like that. So we're not just, what we're trying to do is look at this landscape and consider all the effects that that an action might happen. You know, there's people living in them too, there's wildlife living in them too, how can we create some balance between those things? But most of the work that I do is really all voluntary. I mean, it's if a private landowner is working with a land trust, who's oftentimes the lead on the project, and the land trust or the landowner needs funding, I can help with that. That's what I kind of tend to do. Again, but I just want to stress it's voluntary, right? Like we're not, we're working with willing sellers or willing people who want to do things like conservation and stuff like that.
Is it true that a lot of this got passed because of the grizzly bear? It was more of a study on it, well, they studied the elk and now, but the grizzly bear was one, it was pretty much the push to get it.
When you're talking about the infrastructure stuff,
They had the money and stuff.
I think a lot of it,
They're reading that, but they had a thing on TV I seen sometime that was, yeah. Little bear, like it.
yeah, that's one of the things that we are interested in is like just the movement of if you have a population of animals in Yellowstone, right? They're isolated from other populations of animals in other places. And so like moving them back and forth, right, helps to spread the genetics. It helps it keeps wildlife healthy, right? It's one of the good characteristics of a healthy wildlife population, sure. With an eye toward, I mean, I think that's where the infrastructure money, like that's what people are paying attention to is you can't just do one without the other. Like there has to be that balance of like, we can't just create a lot of animals moving one place without planning for how to do that and not create things like vehicle collisions and issues in, you know, like I said, we funded bear-proof trash cans outside of Lolo High School, you know, so that if folks are throwing things away, it's not anything that tracks these animals and creates these kind of issues. So,
And I'll throw in, the research that's been done specifically, like, I think part of that infrastructure money. There's data that shows that wildlife vehicle collisions are reduced by 90% or more when a wildlife crossing is put into these places where there is data that shows that this is important, and to have those animals move across that roadway via a crossing instead of across the roadway. And then the other piece, and I think nobody would disagree with me on this potentially, but like the big selling point of these is that it helps save lives. So as I'm doing this outreach, those are like the two big points that I'm just trying to share with people. And there is both state and federal money right now. There's a lot of different pots, so depending on what the project is, there's different ways that it can be accomplished. And so through this outreach, just trying to gauge what communities may be interested in submitting proposals at some point or being a part of that work if it impacts your community. And if it doesn't, that's totally okay too. Just trying to figure out, that's really, I think, why, because they haven't had large US staff support. And we're both under a year at the organization, but I know my specific role was brought on to do this type of outreach and to kind of get ahead of when those proposals will be announced, so that if communities do want to apply, we can help with that depending on what it is, or like point you in the direction of funding. So,
Okay,
I don't want
Yeah.
you to think I'm being rude number. We never got this, until now. You on that second page, it goes right in saying this is made because of the grizzly bear.
oh,
So, that's
Negative.
right there.
yeah,
And
And
I heard
it's-
that, that's, don't take me wrong, I just, what I've heard, they're saying the elk and that, but it's mainly the money for the grizzly bear. You look on the second
So
page.
they're talking about overpasses and underpasses, is that what we're talking about?
yeah, yeah, those are the large structures. There's also a lot of infrastructure work that can be done potentially with existing, like if there's an existing bridge or, even, I'm trying to like think of other examples specifically on 90. Like if it's just a fencing, like sometimes all it takes is a long stretch, miles of fence, to get them to whatever that safe area to cross is. And then having a ton of signage, sometimes it's lighting. It just, yeah, there's a lot of different things that can be done if there's a conflict area, not necessarily the crossing, but like a really great example is what has happened in Banff and along Highway 93 up north. Those crossings have reduced wildlife vehicle collisions by that 90%. And I know, just because I'm on the funding piece, while it is very expensive at the forefront, when you look at how much it will save in the long run, it's I can actually give you a figure. They save between $235,000 and $443,000 every year per structure. And that's looking at damage to the vehicle, whether the person is injured. I mean, all of those things that, I'll be honest, I don't think about. So the structures wind up paying back for themselves.
so Scott, I have a question for you. You were mentioning the elk crossing. Is that something that Granite County would want to put an application in for a grant for an elk crossing? You
No,
said there was a study.
no, because it don't have nothing to do with us, it's something like that. What kind of public transportation needs to, some of it's in Powell County. Some of it's in us, but it's nothing to do with any of our roads, it's railroad, running road, highway, east, west, 90.
But is that something maybe they would be interested
They,
in?
they've been doing it, it's been studied for at least 4, maybe going on 5 years, they've had cameras out there, and they've spent thousands of dollars studying this, that's why I don't understand why you keep wanting to study more when you already have all the facts, why waste the money?
Montana,
When you
yeah.
could put it towards fixing our health. That's me though. I just don't agree with all this study, you know, where they're crossing. Pretty easy. You look in the record of things and see where the 90% of the wrecks are, and it's in a certain area.
Yeah.
There was a motorcycle head on with an elk there, how many years ago was that?
I mean, they're there, it's just, it's crossed there for on life. Everybody knows.
Yeah, I think that area on 90 is the big, that's the big one, that area that. Where the collisions, those are where the most fatal collisions are, happening too, the most fatal ones. Are there other places or other areas we should be paying attention to that you all know about or that you've heard about or?
Well, I think you're gonna find out more due to the fact that you got more carnivores, like you said, that are moving these herds. You know, wolves chasing them all the damn time. And right now, all the game's down low. I mean, they don't wanna go up the hills, why would you? They got the wolves running, and they're just chasing them back and forth. And it's not gonna matter if you put a crossing here or here, they're hunting here.
Okay.
Them elk aren't gonna run down and take your crossing.
No, no.
You know what
No,
I'm saying?
they're being chased
There's a lot
by
of
wolves.
there's a lot of common sense to this that your personal opinion is you're wasting too much money trying to figure stuff out. How many deer and elk have crossed that at Everett?
That specific spot.
That
That-
way they put in there, how many have they really
Oh,
crossed that total pass?
in 93 or 93.
Yeah, right there at the top of it.
I don't have that specific data. Unfortunately, I can find out.
I mean, it's stuff like that, it's just, I don't know.
We just worked on funding, it's fencing that really helps, it's the fencing that can really help, we just funded a project in northern Idaho. It's north of MacArthur Lake, if you've ever been up there, and there's sort of 3 crossings, and what we did was add an additional mile of fence on both sides. And then there was some fence that was broken, so they were getting through, and we immediately saw, and this was monitored with game cams. But we saw those numbers double after the fence was finished. I mean, we cleared all the game cam cards. And so we knew how many were crossing up until the day the fence was finished, the repaired fence and then the new fence. And the numbers of crossings doubled. So they were using it, but I think a big part of it is being funneled. They're funneled when they're moving naturally, but I hear what you're saying. Like, there's the consideration of moving naturally. And then there's the consideration of like being hunted and like that. Predator prey instinct, that's what I'm hearing you talk about, is like that makes the behavior change.
Cause they benched it now from the top of Everett all the way up to, past Artery, all the way up to, I think, 95, they put up all brand new fence on each side. Is that part of that funding? It's Salish Coopy.
Yeah, I think so, I think that was part, or it was a second round of funding for that same, like, associated with that same project.
How long are these funneling fences?
I think it kind of depends on the landscape and it depends on what you have money for. They're pretty expensive. I've seen them go for about what do I want to say, like 100 to 200,000 a mile. Depends on who bids on them and who can do them. And that's both sides. You know,
Are
so
they like?
8 foot tall. Yeah, they're big. I've only seen an elk jump over an 8 foot tall fence one time, and I was scared by a bull terrier. It was silly. But yeah, they're like they're 8 foot tall fences, I think. Yeah, so they're pretty pricey. But once they're in, they do a pretty good job of sending the animals to like an underpass or an overpass so that they're not just going straight out onto the highway. Yeah.
There's another, I personally think it doesn't get talked about a lot, and why, to my knowledge, was not a part of it, but. The stretch of highway, outside Jordan, so in eastern Montana, they put up wildlife fencing along both sides of the road, and then. Put in culverts, and I believe they used existing structures too. Improved those so that wildlife could move just more easily through those. And then the fencing would funnel the wildlife to each spot. And when I met with, an MDT biologist, it was Larry Sickerson, he shared with me even before, like, it was really cool to see, just the tracks going through and see what was using these things if it's done well. Cause that's a big thing with culverts if they're existing. If an animal can't see directly through, and you may all know this, so I apologize if I'm sharing too much, but if they can't see like the sunlight through, they won't use it. And so if these things are done well, especially with the fencing, yeah, it works and it just reduces these collisions. So it's
Well,
good
that's
for
the thing.
both.
It'd be nice instead of trying to build something over when you can use the access that's already there, 'cause through the part from
Yeah,
Deer Lodge all the way to Missoula, there's old crossings. They put the highway in there. Not like there's stuff they can still use.
that's
I just
totally
get frustrated. on
true.
Study, and just thousands, millions of dollars of study and
I've heard the term used, people say analysis paralysis. You get paralyzed by it. Yeah, it's, it's interesting though. I think a lot of times the cost of that's why those existing structures are really great, because they don't cost as much. A new one can be like $20 million to move that kind of dirt or that kind of concrete and stuff. So I think the part of the analysis is that everyone wants to be sure if we're gonna drop $20 million, that it makes sense. But I hear you on that. I'm also curious, I am curious, I haven't heard a lot of people talk about how carnivores are affecting, like how predators are affecting animal movement. What other, I know about it, but I haven't heard people voice it as much as you did. And I'm just wondering what other kind of conflicts you all are hearing about from folks here, like with wolves and bears moving.
pretty much my personal opinion is the grizzly bear and the wolf. Coyotes are, they can change, but not like what these are. I mean, it's out of hand.
Yeah.
It's, it's not gonna stop.
Mhm.
And it don't matter where you put something in, when they're hungry, they're going for it. They're not gonna chase them down and push them through a tunnel. They're gonna get on the corner there. That's it.
Yeah.
They'll run through your fence. It's happened already. Once that bleeding one goes, then they just keep piling them up. You see it, the wolves do it to the sheep, they just get them, and then next thing you know, they're stumbling, and they just pile them up.
There is, we have been a part of a project on 6 Mile, so the other side of Missoula, but there are things that are happening on I-90. Where there is the data, and they are making improvements, so that's kind of just bringing it back to the funding piece. These projects are things we're trying to be involved in, but yeah, if it ever is of interest, those applications, I'm happy to share more and follow up with just a couple, like Montanans for Safe Wildlife Passage, things like that. But yeah. That's really all I have.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Is there any public comment? Or questions? Elena?
Thank you. For the record, Elena Gagliano, as a resident of Granite County, landowner, and also Big Sky Passenger Rail Director, having to do with transportation. Since I heard that mentioned, I'd be interested in seeing what you shared with the commissioners. The Y2Y corridor is very extensive, and it's a big area. And I think all the county's involvement, cities, towns, are just pieces of it. So I am interested in it. And I know that there was a push for the Y2Y several years ago, and that didn't go anywhere publicly. Anyway, I'd be interested in seeing that. And I think Big Sky Passenger Rail, which I know I would believe that you know and you heard about that. is involved with transportation and it would be of interest. So I hope you share that information online so we can see it. Thank you.
Billy, you will be putting that online.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very.
Appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
You have a card?
I do.
You do?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, I
that's
gotcha.
The one thing I forgot, but I'll tell you what, I'll put it there.
I'm just trying to read while you're here, but that's like, yeah.
Sure. I'll put a thank you card together with my card, 3 cards and 5 cards in it, and send it your way. The one thing I forgot when I was trying to get out of the Tula before the snow came down.
And I'm happy to, link Eric in on any communication too. I won't leave you. Thank you. I know you already have it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks for coming.
thanks, y'all.
Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, have a good day.
They traveled out there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
$11. Resolution, second reading on resolution 2024-1. The Granite County resolution establishing regular commission meeting dates and regular courthouse office hours for calendar year 2024. Second reading. Is there any discussion?
Is this the one I had a question on? That's not
Okay, this was where you were wondering about.
the quarterly meeting for the city.
So whereas the Board of Granite County Commissioners has agreed to hold meetings every Tuesday in calendar year 2024 and special joint meetings with the town of Phillipsburg and Drummond on a quarterly basis at mutually agreed upon locations around Granite County. It down here, it
Lines, which ones?
that's
Sorry, I included your one from the previous year because you asked for
So-
those to be in the packet.
excuse me. It does. Okay, now therefore be it resolved that Board of Granite County Commissioner hereby sets regular commission meeting dates as every Tuesday in calendar year 2024 and may hold special joint meetings on a quarterly basis at mutually agreed upon locations around Granite County. So it does say may. Okay, so on the paragraph where we had requests to have Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve day off, and doing the research in 7-4-2211, it clearly states that in order to set hourly or date that
Closure,
Yeah.
closures, yeah.
you would have to have a special
Public
public
hearing
hearing
consent of all that.
and that all elected offices need to agree to that special hearing or special meeting.
So there was requests for like, a little early out, the way the only way I see other than having that public hearing process is like keeping it open, but virtually having that designate. My advice was take the issue off of this resolution and then you guys could have meetings later on and talk about it. It does get kind of complex with people using, user vacation or what is it, all county employees. So there's some things, I think you have to talk about.
Okay, so I would like to address that, and I did do research and checked with other offices and they're not agreeable to it. So I think that being pulled out of here, I think we need to set the office hours and not go into having an extra agenda item with a public hearing and doing another resolution. Because it's just gonna end up the offices that don't feel that it's justifiable are not in agreement to it. Okay,
On that note, so if two officers don't want it, just say 3 deals. That goes.
in the law, it says all.
Okay, that's what I'm asking, I'm just.
No, I'm just telling you. I'm not
Again,
saying
that's-
it
Yes,
is.
I don't like it.
I know you disagree with it.
Foreclosures, but I think there is the option for, yeah, virtual opening.
That's all, I'm just, cause I thought you said all, but when then you said there was 2 that did not want it, just.
I can sure look up the law and read it to you.
No, I'm good on that, I don't, no, I'm just making sure.
There's two officials that would not want to close.
Yeah.
And I just wanna make sure that it wasn't like 2 could say, but the majority could, where it says all.
No, it says all.
Yeah, I just don't agree with
Yes.
it.
I agree with you.
Okay. So is there a motion to adopt resolution 2024-1?
With that took out, then
It's out.
Yeah,
I could.
So, and Chuck agreed with me that not to proceed, that it's out,
yeah.
because there are offices that don't agree with it.
Make a motion to accept resolution 2024.
No, sad.
Any public comment? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Somebody goofed. We have my name on there twice.
Uh-oh. That was me, not Billy. That means you're.
I didn't catch it though. We'll reprint it. Yeah, we were this close. We're adjusting.
Yeah, that's on me, not Billy. I'll take that.
Put on.
They say that Yellowstone, you from the profit outfits.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
I mentioned one thing on that, I want to see what it says, if, you have bears around a school, I as a parent would be very concerned, I mean, I don't think the garbage does the, bear-proof garbage isn't the answer. Yeah. Well, yeah, I gotta take care of the bear issue,
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to do.
yeah.
That's the damn thing.
It's always seemed like if somebody else comes on, gonna get some of that money to study.
Thank you, Billy.
There you are.
Because I didn't take straight out for anything.
Discovery going through it. So there.
We only have 15 minutes to discuss this.
Or you can move it up too.
Okay, let's go on with resolution 2024 two. The Granite County resolution establishing mileage, lodging, and transportation rates for business travel calendar year 2024, second reading. Is there a motion to accept or is there discussion on resolution 20? Oops, we got resolution 23-2 instead of 24.
You asked for both of them to be in the packet this week, so they should both be there, aren't they? Or is
I
that,
think
oh,
this
that
is
one's
the-
I have 2 copies of 23.
There's an updated
Okay.
one, it's 24.
24 3. Is that one?
Yeah, I have 23-2 and my resolution for 23 says 23 if you'll notice.
Let me go
And
find
for
it,
the
Billy.
travel calendar year 2023, it still has on there.
There you go.
Well, I'm getting all hooped up. We have, is this what somebody else wanted? We
Okay, we
also
did
they
one
have
of last
two.
year's to
Yeah.
compare.
Really
Oh,
well.
yeah, here we go.
Well, it was also work in progress, different drafts. but
Yeah.
but yeah.
We got it.
See what,
We're figuring it out slowly but surely. Okay. There you go. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
You still have year 2023 on it. In the description.
Yeah, okay.
Where am I looking? Oh, I'm on the third from now. Wait, oh,
Right
right
here,
there.
yeah.
That one's the good one. That one's the older one. Whatever. Yeah.
You looking for anyone 23? I'll make sure we got the names in here right.
Yeah, motion on that?
Did I make? Do I have a motion for resolution 2024 dash
Yeah, I'll make
two?
a motion to accept, resolution 2024-2.
Exactly. Okay, is there any public comment? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Okay, resolution 2024-3. The Granite County resolution setting daily incarceration rate and daily rates of credit for incarceration for fiscal year 2024. Discussion.
Make the motion accepted.
Okay, is there a second? Any public comment? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Would this be on legal paper?
I usually only do your final ones you sign on legal paper, so all the ones you're adopting today are on legal paper.
Yeah, except this one, going to be adopting this, or is it?
2024
Or is it
dash 4 is
different?
not adopted.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, duh. So. We've got 1, 2, and 3.
Well, what is this 2024
They're studying on,
for?
they're studying on the elections.
So
Study commission.
Montana Constitution, state statute, they have to do it every 10 years or you do it, the commission could do it earlier, but more often or by petition. So, but yeah, there's every 10 years, I don't know that I necessarily agree with the Constitution, but
Yeah.
it's in there.
So then it has to go to the ballot, whether or not we have a study commission, and then we have to do. What, appoint people to do the study?
If they vote for it, there'll need to be one vote for Phillipsburg and Drummond and the counties. The county votes in and appoint a 3-panel board there. I'm not sure if they were paid last time
I think so.
there's an amount in there up to 12,000. They'd have other costs too, some public meetings and so forth. So that was 10,000 previously 10 years ago, so I put it up to 12, but maybe we'll look at different number there. That's just the proposal. I wouldn't foresee that it's gonna be passed, you never know.
So this is where our auditor actually thought that maybe when if we do have a study commission, that we should study the fact that the elected offices of the clerk of court, clerk and recorder, and treasurer should be nonpartisan.
Yeah. Yeah, something could be looked at as far as.
Because it's
Yeah.
not a political where the commission I can see is. County attorney, I don't see is. He just mentioned that,
Except for county attorney, I don't have to make any political decisions.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I can see where it would
yeah,
potentially fall.
so do you think that the county attorney would be a nonpartisan position? Okay, so, to explain resolution 2024-4. The Montana Constitution article. What, XL?
11. XI,
Yeah,
XI, 11.
but L is what?
I think that's an I, XI,
Oh,
shouldn't be an
oh,
L.
duh, okay,
Yeah, XI, so 11, section,
Okay.
or article 11.
yeah, ninth article, yeah. Section 9, 1972 in Montana Code. Annotated section 73-1732 to 2023 require local governments in Montana to call for and hold study commission elections before the respective local governments electorate every 10 years. So Blaine pretty much explained what it was. So, and it shows the ballot language on this resolution. So this is the first reading, first discussion.
Sarah's looked at it too. Should be talking to the towns, because they should technically do a resolution. Don't really ever encourage you to rubber stamp things, but since it's in the Montana Constitution. Public comment.
Is there any public comment on resolution 2024-4? Venus, none?
Then by statute, the town is supposed to pay a portion of it.
Elena has comment.
Go ahead, Elena.
Thank you for the record. I wasn't clear on this, so this is the first reading. I didn't hear any discussion about it really from the commissioners, but it's going to be on the next week's agenda for a final decision. That it will be on the ballot for June 2024.
Well, I don't understand why you don't feel there was discussion. I think Blaine pretty much explained it all. And then we read it and we knew what it was gonna cost. And
I missed your thoughts. I didn't hear the thoughts from all three of you. I'm sorry, I must have missed it.
do you have a comment, Chuck, on resolution 2024-4?
No, not at this time.
Do you understand it,
Oh,
Chuck,
yeah.
on 24-4? How about you,
Yeah,
Scott?
and it was explained to us, why do we have to do this? I mean, it was explained, you explained it, he explained it, yes, it was discussed.
Yeah.
So being this is the first reading. And if there's any more discussion, then we can we can go forward next second reading and discussion.
Only thing I'd say is if you have any issues with it, let me know now, but I don't express any issues.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's really all I wanted because it's something you have to do according to Montana codes and statutes. There's a lot of things that you don't do according to Montana codes and statutes. It's your discretion. So that was the clarification. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Elena.
You're welcome.
So kind of a preamble to the next agenda item. Billy and I had a meeting with the NRC and with Donovan Jones. With the Granite County Airport Board. And so Billy took notes and I am going to just ask Billy if she would give us just exactly what transpired on that meeting on Friday with the DNRC and the Granite County Airport Board, myself and Billy.
Do you want me to do that, or you have the response to the Forest Service correspondence next? Do you want me to
My bad.
wait, or?
Okay. I missed that one. Okay, so the response to correspondence from the U.S. Forest Service Ranger Cameron Razor, December 19th, 2024, discussion and decisions. I'm gonna open this to the floor, whoever wants to start.
Back to the same thing. It's not ours, but yet they want us to, like it's, you just read all that.
Yeah, I didn't like where he said that. In his opinion, we should buy the sign, put up on their road.
If I'm correct, Blaine, I think that the reason we're doing this is that we're not just gonna let Cameron have the last say, we're gonna keep kind of commenting on it and trying to get some help, knowing that this letter pretty much says we're stuck.
What particular issue on the crosswalk or something or the other?
Well,
Or
it's everything.
Okay, yeah.
I think Chuck and but I mean, once again, it's not ours, but yet then they kick it right back and next thing, well, the county can partner with this, county can do this, it's people, not, it's not our road. And it just, they don't want all the ass chewing, they want them people come in here and they all come down on us, when it should be, literally, they need to go to them,
Yeah,
right?
the,
I mean,
I really think the crosswalk is a critical issue and would help. And just to say, I don't think it would work. I'd say if I was commissioner, I'd say that's a condition of me even being willing to look at putting money in that road and sending the crosswalk. But that's my, but yeah, I think a response is warranted.
this rolls it back on us, it don't matter what, we try to make stuff work, it's trying to help them out there, but they need to get their group.
Without a crosswalk there, they're gonna be back to square one on.
Yeah, but I kind of agree with Cameron on that. I don't think some kid's not gonna walk to cross the Battle Road, they're not gonna walk down to the crosswalk.
I think the folks though that are in that, that are living right there would have to do it, and that would be their duty, the good crosswalk would be right there, where all those kids are basically at.
That's the only concern, or the only place that really that they're complaining right there, that's the only reason we thought maybe that.
Yeah, you can say that crosswalk, it's only gonna hit someplace
I
else.
understand, a kid ain't gonna go telling them down there half a mile, I totally understand what you're saying, but they need to keep kicking it back.
It's it's the county's road responsibility until they don't like something, that's not,
Well,
it's gotta be all or nothing.
Well, it seems like they want us to do stuff, but they're here we were trying to do something, but no.
Yeah, I agree with you that,
I mean, we tried to help the people, we tried to do this, you know, we put working with them.
So the response should be, hey, this is your road, you deal with it, that's what I said.
it's a liability to have that crosswalk, I wouldn't.
So the crosswalk we were putting. Is this the road we're putting the cross, am I confusing myself with the road that's in really dire bad shape?
We were talking putting one here too, but then they said no.
Okay,
You've already put one, or gonna put one on Georgetown Lake Road, this is Lakeshore Drive, it's, yeah.
It's
is
going
this the
to-
one where you turn off, cross the dam and go up around?
No, this is the lower road.
Goes along the lake. Lower part of the lake, south part of the lake.
Be the upper end.
The
Like,
other end?
That goes by Eccleston Bay, that dirt road in there.
You know, one that gets was so bad, and that's where the people are all in here complaining. That's where they talk about that flop and stuff.
You can
Yeah,
get to it across the
yeah.
dam, you go across the dam,
Yeah,
and you go out there several miles, then you cut down
Yeah,
and goes down.
that's where you have the speed bump.
Oh,
was
okay.
there. Yeah, speed bump, but speed bump didn't work. They were mission to talk to, have several meetings on it, and the one guy brought, I can't think of his name, had a good idea of the
Oh, I
crosswalk.
forgot.
yeah, it's a security thing.
Yeah,
He brought it to our attention, Bruce, but yeah, we thought, well, maybe that might, you know, help slow it down out there, cause we could never get that speed thing done. Now he's saying it was never speed limits.
I said that. To me, from my perspective, attorney's perspective, the liability now with that road is exposure to liability is huge, I think.
Is what?
The exposure liability is a huge issue now with the kids nearly being hit on that road. I personally, well, my advice to you is not to touch that road unless you're going to do something. Crosswalk or some type of alternative.
And the Forest Service doesn't want crosswalk, right?
So they don't wanna do it, he said.
They don't wanna do it, yeah, they do it, we do it.
Yeah,
If
they
we did
want
it,
us to pay.
Oh,
they
if
want
they're
us-
okay. with it.
Oh,
They want us to pay for everything to do it, but yet they don't, in the next sentence, you know, that's like you want.
I was confused on that because, yeah. I thought potentially that, I don't wanna speak for you guys, but as we're thinking about putting some money into it, potentially to do a crosswalk, but let's see,
Not our road.
No, they're-
I mean, it's just frustrating that we try to work and help, and then we just
We're-
keep
we're-
getting.
I encourage the county to purchase warning signs and strategically place in there by pedestrian, like, on Front Street. I don't see our crosswalk would be beneficial, the question of each homeowner wants their home.
See,
No one was asking for that.
seeing these kicking it back on everybody else, so the Forest Service taking, stand up, taking, it's their road.
Then talking about flat, partnering for flat in 2025.
Yeah, they want us to do that, but why would we put $500,000 into a road that ain't ours? But I mean, the people need to go and bank their.
I think the only solution is for the people up there to make an association and do the maintenance themselves. Right? On the Forest Service Road, just leave it at Forest Service Road, if they wanna put a crosswalk in, they can put a crosswalk in. If they wanna blade it, they can blade it, they can do whatever.
They talked to them about permitting, because they brought that issue up before, that they could come talk to
Take the
them.
headache off of us and them, it'd be smart to give them a contract doing that, let the homeowners take it over and then they can do whatever they want with it, they should put it through the ringer, just let them do it.
That should be your response, if you're agreeable.
Okay, so is there a motion? Oh,
Is this an open meeting where I can sit?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think, well, I don't know if we have to make a motion, I just,
I think on a response letter, putting that in it,
is that what you're,
yeah.
I just. How would you make the motion, just respond back, why don't the Forest Service just give the homeowners a lease agreement on that road, let them take care of it, and
A permit,
Yeah,
work with the fill out a permit process.
As long as we keep it as, you know, I mean, they're not gonna hurt us. Let them know, that way at least they can do it.
Yeah.
That'd be my motion.
So,
To maintain it and fix, and look at, possibilities of crosswalks.
Yeah. Whatever they can do, give them, give the homeowners the road, they're the ones using it, I don't know, I think Forest Service don't want. It's let the homeowners have it. Least green, that road. They gotta maintain, take care of it.
I'd say permit versus lease, cause yeah, I think they would do
I think
permits.
there was a lease agreement one time, he said,
Oh,
but that's one thing I was.
I just remember him in recent years of talking about permits.
That'd be my motion.
I second it.
okay, is there any public comment?
Elena.
Go ahead, Elena.
Thank you. Point of clarification, because I really couldn't hear the discussion. So you're gonna write a letter to Cameron in answer to this?
Yes,
Thank you.
So the letter's just going with Forest Service, right?
Reason that the Forest Service to work with the homeowners and they're on the permit process for the homeowners to take over on that.
All in favor? Aye.
How are you?
Pretty good. Well, I'm Eric Anderson. I've got some property up at Georgetown Lake. And I'm also a pilot, and you guys recently gave me a position on the airport board. So I just happened to be down
Oh.
here in Phillipsburg. So
Nice.
Great Falls is home, so
Nice to meet you. That's Blaine Bradshaw, County Attorney.
Blake,
Yeah, Blaine.
Blaine,
yeah.
Bradshaw.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. Thanks for being on the airport board.
It's a privilege.
You're the one took Ernie's place?
No, that's Don.
Donovan.
Yeah, still.
Yeah. There's been a lot of changes.
So on the board now with Donna Jones, yourself.
David Lee,
David Lee.
Dave Sanson, Benton Brooks. I have to pull it up.
I don't even know of everybody. It's just been Zoom meetings.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be my suggestion, get a list of who everybody is, where they live.
I can give you that. I can.
They updated on the website.
I don't have people's personal information on the website, but I have a copy here.
There is a Dan Clark from the MSU local government office coming tomorrow at 2 to do a training on open meetings. It's in the courtroom at 2 o'clock.
I wish I could be here. I have to be back in Helena, so tomorrow morning.
Okay. I think Donovan is gonna try to, yeah. But out by Zoom is allowable. So it works through this board.
We gotta figure out where to put it.
So we're gonna start a little early on the update from the meeting with the DNRC and the Granite County Airport Board. And we had a meeting on Friday with the DNRC and Donovan. Billy and I were present, and DNRC was very informative, and so was Donovan Jones. And I'm gonna let Billy go ahead and give you a update on that. She took the minutes from it, or she took notes from it so that.
Could I make one comment?
Sure.
I just wanna say that you went, cause it was not on the agenda, so we all couldn't go, cause I don't want somebody getting on there, so why didn't the other two go? But you went and took care of it.
Well, and the reason that it was just one person needed to be there and I was there. And Billy took the notes and I was there just to be informed.
I just didn't want
Okay,
people. the
yeah,
public-
no, it wasn't going to be a forum, it was. I was asked to go ahead and participate, just listening is all I did. So I-
Yeah, it's acceptable, there's not a quorum there, you don't make any decisions.
There was, it was just. I think mainly the DNRC wanted to visit with the Granite County Airport Board. And so we were just there, not really to participate, just to kind of listen in to see what was going on.
Yeah, to support the airport board,
To support the
essentially.
airport board.
Yeah,
Good job, thank you.
So anyway, Billy, if you wanna. Did you have any other questions?
No,
Okay.
I just wanted.
So Billy took notes and,
yeah.
I think she's got them kind of figured out where she can do kind of a play-by-play
Yeah,
on what the conversation was about.
they're not super organized, but it was Liz Mullins. She's the land use and real estate person with the DNRC, and Craig, I didn't catch his last name, but he is acting unit manager because Brian Robbins has retired. Basically, they just kind of wanted to sit down and get an understanding of where the airport is at with is it the ALA? Is that what it's called? It's kind of they're in that grant planning process. ALP, thank you. ALP to kind of understand what that's looking like and if there's going to need additional land as part of the easement that they already have with the DNRC. If there's going to need to be additional land, if that access and approach changes, because there are different proposals that have come forth to the DNRC for some of that state land usage. So it was really just walking through kind of what the ALP looks like now, what the different approach road could be. And it does look like there may be some additional land, not a lot of acreage, maybe like 3 acres or 7 acres of change that might change in the future. So they might kind of start that process now. So Liz will put together some information to send out to us, but it was really just informative, and like Commissioner McClure said, supporting the airport board as they were in that meeting.
And it wasn't just tiny homes, like she was saying, there's other proposals. And so this is at a very early stage where they're gonna have to get appraisals of the land and to see just what the market value is. And there's quite a long way before the DNRC.
Just for the expansion of the airport, the thing I did study on a couple years ago, 3 years ago, whatever, 4 years ago.
Mhm.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Is that what this is?
Yeah. Yes. Mhm.
I don't think they're planning on extending the length of the runway at all. I think it has more to do with an instrument approach coming in from
Yes.
the north. Because they can't really do it from the south because of the terrain. And that would require just a little bit of additional land to the east.
Yeah.
About 90 feet along the whole stretch.
And then that would come from the DNRC.
Some of it, and some of it's Forest Service, right?
Some of it's
And
Forest
some of it
Service,
might be
some of it's
private. Yeah. So they're just kind of starting the process, and that's years down the road, was my understanding, but they want to kind of maybe start that now. It's like 2026, or I can't remember how to throw it in.
The way I understood on that day I met them out there, there's so much that's gotta be studied before they could even. I mean, this. is not gonna happen overnight.
No, they made it perfectly clear. There's a lot of hoops.
And that other way they were talking, driving in there was something to do there might have been a conflict too, so they using the road we use, that road up where they're talking, going in there, they gotta, yeah.
So how does this relate to the little houses?
They're the ones that.
Okay, so what I just said is Little Houses isn't the only one that is possibly wanting to use that. There's other possible proposals. So Little Houses doesn't have the DNRC's approval to even get going, because there's other
Donovan's here.
proposals that are kind of been asked of the DNRC.
Donovan actually just hopped on. Where'd he go? There, let me make him a co-host.
Don't they have to all kind of put in, for being a state and all that, that other group might get somebody else might come in and do something different. They're not guaranteed just to get it.
So Elena, as soon as we're through with our discussion, I will take public comment.
And I made Donovan a co-host, so he
Okay,
is.
so
able to
Donovan,
unmute.
did you want to have any input that you wanted to add to our update from the meeting with the DNRC?
Did you guys already discuss it?
Just a super brief discussion of it, but you probably have better information than I.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I just jumped on here. I didn't understand what you said. So I have received a little bit of communication in addition to what we discussed from Liz. She wanted to clarify where some of those boundaries were and looking at future easement areas there. So I provided information on those questions, and she's going to send over the documents that we need to proceed in investigating that, what it's going to take to pull that easement area into the airport property. So probably nothing new to add.
Is there any other discussion? Elena, you had a comment?
Thank you, Elena Gagliano. For the record, I have a question and also a comment. And the reason why my hand was raised is because I heard in the beginning, one of the commissioners wanted to make a comment. And so that's why I thought it was open for comments. Anyway, my question, and again, I have a comment. My question is, when was this meeting noticed? I don't think it was discussed at the previous meeting of the airport board. I don't think I saw anything in the newspaper from the DNRC that there was going to be a meeting, a discussion, or anything. That's my question. Was it noticed anywhere? And then again, I have a comment.
It wasn't really an official meeting. It was actually kind of just a quick email drop from the DNRC asking Donovan and a member of the commissioner's office if they could jump in on a Teams meeting really quick. We found out beginning of the week last week, and I think we had an official time on Tuesday, maybe, and the meeting was Thursday. So it wasn't no one had a quorum, not the airport board, not the commissioner's office. So it was publicly noticed.
Not a public.
All right. Here's my comment. It's not that it has to be a quorum to have a notice about it. It is between agencies. The DNRC is an agency, and the airport board is an advisory board under the county. And so it should have been noticed. There should have been some notice on it. The minutes I'm looking from December, I don't see anything. I see one reference to the DNRC, but I don't see anything regarding a meeting, a discussion, or anything. Again, this is not a group that has nothing to do with the county. It is an advisory board under the county, and a commissioner was there. And it doesn't have to be a quorum. It's a public meeting. And it should have been noticed. That's my comment.
No, that's absolutely wrong. It's not a public meeting. Not a public meeting. And to say the public should be invited, then that could be opinion, but it's not a legal public meeting.
It makes reference to the airport board. Okay, and the DNRC.
They didn't, airport board did not meet.
There's only one.
It
person.
says the airport board and you had members of the airport board being there.
One.
What was this, behind closed doors that we get together? I'm sorry,
It's not
Blaine,
a-
there's
it's
a
not a
lot
forum,
going
you're
on
absolutely
right
wrong.
now with
You're
open
wrong
meeting
on
and
the
public
law.
You
participation.
never let nobody finish. You always keep yapping.
Thank you, and Blanche, I think you're the chair and not Mr. Adler, so thank you.
I can.
Blaine, I asked you for a comment and,
It's not a legal public meeting. If you want, if that group chose to invite the public there, that would be allowable, but it was not a public meeting. The public wasn't invited because it was an information meeting that you're then now sharing now in the open meeting. So, there's nothing done, absolutely done, nothing done wrong.
and I will reprimand Scott for his outburst. Shame on you, Scott.
Yeah, Spain function.
Okay, any other public comment? Thank you, Donovan, for jumping on, appreciate it. And Eric for coming in. Like I said, this is just informational, there isn't any decision to be made, and it's just to make the public aware that it wasn't a public meeting.
And
Thank you, Blaine, for your legal opinion.
you're welcome. And you've given out all the information here.
Yeah.
So, I guess it'd be analogous to someone wanting to meet up in my office about an issue or whatever. It's just not a public meeting. If I can have meetings that the public's not invited to. If decisions are made and a quorum's there, that's a public meeting.
Plus a new guy from DNRC just took over.
Okay.
Appreciate you coming in.
Well, I'm looking forward to being part of the whole community. And is the
Okay.
meeting over?
No,
Oh, okay. I'm just gonna visit when we're done, but if we have a break in time or whatever. I own a lot up at Georgetown Lake in the Badger Bay development. And somewhere down the road, when I get through the whole approval process, I'll build a house. And I currently live in Great Falls and I've been there since the mid-80s. And I retired a year ago and this is gonna be my future home down here. And I stopped by today because I actually stopped by a week or so ago. And then yesterday I visited with your mom
oh, very nice.
at the DNRC because I live on the Missouri River, so I'm familiar with 310 permitting and all those kind of things. And my lakefront has been eroding quite a bit over the 20 years since they initially surveyed those lots, so that the supposed pins are actually kind of way out in the water. And I know it's been eroding, and I was just up there yesterday and this morning. And I was there also in November. And since then, you know, the ice breaks up, the wind blows it against the shore, and it just starts peeling back the shoreline. And so my visit to the DNRC was, okay, what do you do in this county? And who do I talk to about, you know, looking at protecting the stream bank a little bit? So she called me actually last night after I visited in the office and said, because Georgetown Lake is not in the floodplain because it's a man-made lake, it's governed by different things. And whether or not the Forest Service or the county has jurisdiction, whether it's sectional lines or whatever, as far as the lake bottom or whatever in that area, that's who I have to kind of be working with. And I just talked to Linda upstairs and she kind of gave me the rundown on everything. And then looking and I realized this is an actual public meeting. So I wanted to just stop by and meet everybody. So somewhere down the road, I just need to figure out the best way to do this, to protect the shoreline, keep it looking natural, but stop the erosion that happens when these big ice sheets come up. It's hard to fight Mother Nature. But I think I can probably do something. But anyway, that's just down the road what I'm gonna be looking at. And if you've worked with any of the other people up in Badger Bay, as far as their shoreline that you're aware of,
Not that I'm aware of, not over years. There was somebody that did a little work up there, and I think they talked to one, might even been Bradley. Might check there. I think.
Linda would know the history on that.
you said there was one person that was on the north side of Piney Point, and that's pretty much the only lot that's over there that did a whole bunch of work without permission. They had to kind of smooth that, but I don't know of any contractors. I do know that some of the lots that as I cruise along the shoreline, I can tell that rock has been moved up to kind of protect the bank, and the rock was big enough that it was obviously done with a machine. It still looks pretty natural.
Yeah, you'd have to go through the whole permit thing, what that limit with all that, and they gotta get the door.
Yeah. And they said the Army Corps of Engineers that has jurisdiction in this area is based out of Helena.
And
So. Double check that.
She didn't have a name, but she thought it was,
they have a Helen. They. Or engineers. I think so.
I don't know, I don't have a contact there.
okay.
We've never really dealt with them. So,
Yes, it is an Anaconda, or Element, sorry.
Okay.
Phone number?
I'm gonna I gotta be in Helena tomorrow, so I'm gonna just swing by their office and visit with them and just get a rough idea. The Army Corps of Engineers has always been involved in any of the projects that I've done along the Missouri. And it's all worked out well. But on this kind of thing, I'd just like to get some advice before I try to hire a contractor and at the last minute get the permits. So I'm in no big rush, but
Okay, so. 4 minutes early on the proposal from GIS to update tech. And this was something that the commission had agreed on. And they went in and they looked and they did. They have 2 options. And for making it simple, the one is just a fix and the other one is going forward and making it where you can add more to it. So Sarah, if you want to explain a little bit, if you'd like to explain. And
Right, since we were gonna be redoing that a little bit, I did have, I contacted BIS to have their cabling guy come take a look, because it is just a huge spaghetti mess. That things have been added and added over the years because technology changes and it does that. So he took a look at it, and like it says on there, the 2 different options. We can just kind of fix it and sort of you get it a little bit better, but like Garrett was saying, that there's 2 failure points that if we do that. But if we totally recable everything, get, nice rack for all, so that we can access things that they need us to do, and they can recable it all. And then going forward in the future, because that this stuff is all, it's just the way it is, and we'll probably have to add stuff. It'll be a lot easier to add stuff to it. And one thought was maybe we've got the CARES money, which there's like $145,000 in there. You know, or using the LATCF to fund that.
And option one was 4,000 and the option two was 15,
It's about
which is doing a whole lot more work and making it where you could add two and it would grow.
Right.
I,
Still need a wall, don't you, as well, or this, okay,
Yes.
need a wall?
yeah.
Right,
separate
yeah.
it. But, my feelings are that we
Yeah,
should do option two. And not do a quick fix and then have to come back and do it all over again. And the option two covers it all and makes it neat and tidy and able to grow. What's your opinion, Scott?
No, I'm with you. Seems like it's better to go with option two and move ahead. If it's gonna do that much more. Cause who's to say how long this 4,000 lasts?
What's that?
Like I said, I don't know how long this $4,000 will last. Sounds like there's a lot more that needs to be done, but make a quick fix for 4, and if you go to 15, it sounds like it lasts a lot longer, right?
Yeah, and continue to be able to grow without having the big huge spaghetti mess that we.
What money we can use?
Hmm?
What money?
Either the CARES Act or the LA.
TCF.
What's the HB 355?
Oh, okay. So, yeah, Garrett had mentioned that, and so I looked it up, and it was, something from the legislature, that the House bill that was to help with all of the counties and towns and things for, what's that
Yeah.
word, you know, for doing this kind of stuff.
IT
do this
stuff.
Yeah, so anyway, I saw that John Fitzpatrick's name was on that bill, so I called him. And he said, yes, originally there was like, I don't know, a couple $1 billion that they had spent, you know, that they had geared towards that would help all the counties and towns and cities and stuff. And by the time it got out of legislature and signed off on, it was just for cities and towns. So, yeah, so we were trying to use that. And so Garrett's like, oh, yeah, when I talked to him, then again, I mentioned that to him, and he's like, yeah, come to think of it, that it was a town that I was talking to. So anyway, got excited about it for a second.
There might be grants here coming up next legislature for like, do new windows, for jail and courthouse, so, yeah. So, something to look at.
So anyway, HB 355, no, is there,
Look.
go ahead. So is there a motion?
I'll make the motion to go ahead with option two, instead of going with the cheaper one, and just fix it right, move on.
No second.
Any public comment? Means none, all in favor? Aye. That was our last agenda item, so is there a motion for projected adjournment?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Any public comment? All in favor? Aye. Motion carried and adjourned. Meeting adjourned.